Hello and welcome to the Institute of Early Years Education. My name is Sinead McMahon and I'm the content manager here at the Institute, and I'm joined today by one of our content writers, Joe Stevenson, who will be leading this session. Hi, Joe.
Hi there.
Um,
Thank you so much for the intro, Sinead.
we're really looking forward to this session. We just felt that, I know obviously we're really grateful for anyone that's taken the time to watch this, but hopefully you will see it as an investment of time for the next 20 minutes or so, for you to be able to put your own well-being first, to look after yourself and make sure that you're fully prepared for the winter season so that you can obviously be at your best to look after the children that are in your care. And Joe is a bit of an expert around this. So without further ado, I'm going to let you introduce yourself fully, Joe, and hand over to you for the rest of the presentation.
Amazing. Thank you, Sinead. Yeah, I'm so pleased to be here with you today. My name is Joe Stevenson, and I'm a qualified yoga and meditation teacher and also a holistic wellness guide. So, we're going to dive into this very relevant topic at the moment on winter wellness. Okay, so winter is actually a time that offers an invitation for us to slow down. And if we have a look at what happens in this season, how the trees lose their leaves, how animals reduce their activity, look to conserve their energy, and even hibernate in some lucky cases, all of this signals this need to really rest and rejuvenate. And actually, believe it or not, our bodies are really attuned to these natural cycles. We see this how we are made of water and the moon has an impact on our bodies. And so, if we can align with the cycles, we are in a much better place to make the most of our own well-being. So in winter, when we have these shorter days, there's less light, we have colder weather, and actually our internal systems, so our immune system and our metabolism, slow down in response to nature's cues. So all of this means that we actually also need more rest, more nourishment, and more care. So that's all wonderful to know and to realize. But why do we struggle to slow down? So, actually, in contrast to nature, modern life and the way that we live now demands that we're on all the time. We often don't get the option to switch off. And what happens is that, regardless of the season that we're in, we prioritize busyness, productivity, being on the go, crossing things off our to do list. And not only do we have demands at work, we also have social obligations, which at this time of year will tend to amp up. And we have our own daily responsibilities as well. So this requires the same level of energy, if not more. And it actually leaves very, very little time for us to be able to naturally slow down. And like I touched on before, there is this cultural expectation to be on all the time. It actually celebrates productivity. And rest can sometimes very wrongly be associated with laziness. Added to this, we live in a time in places that were surrounded by artificial lighting, central heating, the way that technology has advanced. It means that we override all the natural cues that we have in our bodies, and we're able to stay alert and active after dark. So this actually just creates a further disconnection to the natural cycles. We can move on. So, what are the consequences of us ignoring nature's rhythm, winter's rhythm? Well, actually, if we do not heed the call to slow down and to rest, what will often happen is that we will experience physical and mental burnout. So this means that our energy reserves are completely depleted, and we've just overridden that natural need to rest. Sometimes we push on that little bit further than we should. And often if we ignore that, we can become quite ill. This is a season where there's lots of colds and viruses around, and so we can get very susceptible to illness. Our immune system can become weakened. And also, seasonal affective disorder or winter blues is where we do feel this real decrease in mood and in motivation. And this is often made worse by the lack of sunlight, by overstimulation, and by fatigue. So, all of this really makes it much, much harder to maintain any kind of focus, creativity, and resilience. So, what can we do about it? And how can we care for ourselves in winter? So, the trick here is, how do we harmonize with these natural rhythms while still navigating all of the modern demands? We don't want to let things go or let the ball drop. But if we practice very conscious self care and we prioritize that, we can take part in very, very small practices that honors our body and our daily responsibilities. So the main one, if you just click on here, is that we embrace rest and relaxation. So I want you to just think for a moment, and if you want to put it in the chat, you can as well. But think about, how do you actually rest and relax? What is it? What is it that you do, or when is it that you feel most rested and relaxed?
I'm
So we've
going to
got
pop
one.
in here, Joe. I think
Yes.
it's quite hard, isn't it? Think that everything, all the context that you've just said there, thinking about this busy season, I think it's something that's really difficult to do. And just seeing that image there of, the book and the hot drink in your hands, how lovely and welcoming that is. I love doing things like that, but again, I don't know whether or not I do it enough. So to me, all those visuals there are really enticing. They are lovely ways to rest and relax.
So we've had one response say that I only really feel like I rest when I sleep. And often our sleep can also get disrupted at this time of year, especially if we're stressing about things coming up and we're running through our mental to-do list. So if you just click on for me, Sinead, we'll bring up a few suggestions here. What you might find, a lot of what people answer to this question is they're actually doing an activity. So they might be, a lot of people say they'll have a glass of wine to switch off. They might watch some TV. Some people do read. Some people might have a nice meal. But often these are activities that are stimulating still, especially TV, dependent on what it is you're watching. And so I would challenge you to maybe think of new ways that you can prioritize more restorative practices, potentially meditation, breath work, stretching, yoga. And these are not so much activities where we're doing, they are really more ways of being. And I know that can be challenging for some people. So I'm going to show you some examples in a moment. But restful sleep, that was mentioned. And it is so important that we do try to get restful sleep. And think about your bedtime, whether you have a bedtime routine or not. Some people are like, what is a bedtime routine? I just get into bed and I crash. But can you maybe have a consistent bedtime? Can you think about reducing screen time before bed? Maybe have a nice warm herbal tea. Maybe put on a guided relaxation that you can just listen to as you drift off, and experiment with different things that might work for you. There is no set plan that is something that works for everybody. It's about you finding ways to really be able to switch off the mental activity after your busy day, so that you are getting that really good restful sleep. So the next slide, please. We're going to look at some breath work, and we're going to incorporate a little bit of mindfulness. So I hope that you have a few moments that you can take out now and practice this with me, just to see how simple and effective something like the breath can be. So if you are ready and you can take a moment, I want you to just begin to feel where it is you are sitting or standing in this moment. So really bring all of your awareness and your attention down to your feet and just feel where they make contact with the ground. Feel into your sitting bones. Feel the surface beneath you where you are seated at the moment. And if you are able, I'm going to invite you to close your eyes. And when we close down one of the senses, we actually activate and heighten all of the others. And mindfulness is just a word, a way to really bring us into the present moment. And so just feel for a moment the weight of the clothes on your skin. And as you're sitting, just tune into the hearing and notice all of the sounds in the room. And send your hearing out to the furthest point possible. Maybe you can detect the hum of traffic, some noise from outdoors. Move the tongue in the mouth and start to detect any taste there without judgment. And even though the eyes are closed, just stare deeply into the backs of the eyelids. Just notice that subtle play of light and shadow. And I want you to start to bring your awareness to your breath. And maybe it's the first time today that you've even noticed it. And don't try to change it at the moment. Just notice potentially how subtle it is. Can you even detect the air moving in through the nostrils? And just notice whether the inhale feels easier or the same as the exhale. Are they a similar length and depth? And is there any movement in the body as you breathe? All of this without judgment, all of this just becoming aware, paying attention, starting to notice. And then I want you to deepen the breath. So we're going to start to bring the breath fully down into the chest. So now as you inhale, you might hear some noises as the air enters the nostrils, and you will feel the rib cage start to expand and flare. And as you exhale, allow the rib cage to contract and soften. Maybe you'll feel some movement in the shoulders as well as you bring that air, also known as prana, life force energy, down fully into the body. And breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth, just listening to the sound of your breath. And now we're going to go a little deeper, and I want to encourage you to bring that air fully down into the abdomen. So as you inhale now, you want to feel the belly blowing up like a balloon, expanding. And as you exhale, allow the belly to soften. So as you are inhaling now, feel it first in the chest, then down into the belly. And on the exhale, soften and release. And as you breathe now, just feel into the forehead. Imagine you can smooth out any lines, any tension, Just move the jaw slightly, releasing the jaw. And then with each breath, just imagine tension releasing from the body. Let the shoulders relax. And believe it or not, just 3 minutes of this deep abdominal breathing starts to signal to your nervous system that it's safe. It's okay to switch off. And when we come into the body, when we bring our conscious awareness into the body, we start to calm down the mental activity. So you're enhancing your mental clarity, your ability to focus, taking that much needed break and rest. So taking a big, deep inhale now. Exhale through the mouth with a sigh. Again, let's do that one more time. Big, deep inhale. Exhale through the mouth with a sigh. Start to move the fingers and the toes. Open the eyes. Coming back fully into the moment. So this is a breathwork practice, deep abdominal breathwork, that you can even do with children, just incorporating really simple exercises. You can get the children to place their hands on the belly and imagine they are blowing the belly up like a balloon so they can feel the belly expand with the air, and on the exhale just to release and soften. So a very good process to calm down during transitions or after playtime. So if we just move to the next slide, I've got one other breath to share with you. It's a very well-known breath called the box breathing. And on this one, we're just going to inhale for 4 counts, hold the breath for 4, exhale for 4, and hold again for 4 with the breath out. So one note on holding the breath. Sometimes when people hold their breath, they also hold a lot of tension in their body and they tend to tighten. And we don't want to do that. We want to inhale and we want to really soften the body so that even though there's tension, even though the breath is held, that the body is soft and relaxed. So let's just do a couple of moments of this breath as well. Inhaling for 4, inhale. 3, 4, hold. Exhale. Hold the breath out. 2, 3, 4. Inhale for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold again. 2, 3, 4. So very, very simple breath. You can do this anytime. You can count in your mind, and even the act of counting the breath and coordinating the breath to the timing really, really helps with anxiety and allows us to be very fully grounded in the moment. So that's fine. We can go on to that slide. So other tips to care for ourselves in winter. We've talked about the mindfulness moments, just being able to check in, to notice how you're breathing, to tune into the senses. And if you have an activity that you're doing on repeat, something in your day, if you go to a certain station, or when you're making a drink, or when you're taking a glass of water, you can almost remind yourself to have that mindful moment and just check in for that minute. How am I feeling in the body? Can I feel any tension? How is my breath? Is my breath shallow? Can I take a deep breath? You can also practice mindful listening with the children, getting them to sit for a moment and really tune on that sense, even closing the eyes and really being able to listen to all the different sounds, both in the room and outside of the room. So it's important for us to think about our nourishment and hydration at this time of year, to really try to eat wholesome seasonal foods. Soups and stews are always really, really good, and to remain hydrated, because when we're in artificially heated environments, we can get really dehydrated. So really important to still keep on with the water. That also helps with our mental processes and for us to feel much more alert. Being in nature is one of my favorite ways to really replenish and rejuvenate ourselves. And a great way to get some sunlight when we have it, those lovely crisp days when we do have the cold, but we get that sunlight. And just to notice the colours around you, listen to the sound of the leaves under your feet, really be in that moment when you are in nature. It's incredibly grounding, really, really good for us, for our well-being on all levels. And if you do find you suffer from seasonal affective disorder or SAD, or you feel that your mood is a little lower, it is really, really important to get that sunlight and to use light therapy. So just 10 minutes near a window, or to get out in the garden, to be in a little bit of sunlight. And it's also really almost essential, I would say, for people to supplement with vitamin D, particularly at this time of year, if you live in the UK. So just on to the next slide, just a couple more tips here to really nourish yourself during the winter. You can set boundaries on your work and your social activities. You are allowed to say no and give yourself permission to slow down where you can. Another lovely thing to switch our focus is to establish a gratitude practice. Now, this doesn't need to be elaborate in any way, shape, or form. It can be as simple as just reflecting and picking a couple of things of your day that were positive. And this helps us to train our thinking and our attention and our focus to the positive rather than to the negative. So, on the whole, I hope you can see that really nature is leading the way and really guiding us and showing us the importance of having balance in our lives. And even very, very small acts of slowing down and reconnecting with ourselves can help to restore our energy and our well-being, especially at this time of year.
Thank you so much, Joe. That was so lovely. I don't know how now I'm supposed to work for the rest of the afternoon because that was so relaxing. And actually, further to what I said earlier on, in that, how do we relax? I think I probably speak on behalf of many of us, and I say that sometimes it's not that it's difficult to relax, it's almost giving ourselves the permission to take the time out to relax that I think many of us find more of a challenge. And in this session, the way you've just led us into that lovely relaxation practice that, we didn't choose to go into that. And I'm so glad that we did, because it just shows that actually just by taking those few moments for ourselves in the middle of the day, how important that is to allow ourselves to reset, and that short investment in time can actually really reap some fantastic benefits, which again I guess is the idea of this session, tuning people into ways that we can reset quite quickly and easily, but the benefits of it, not only to ourselves, but those people that we are engaging with, and particularly then for those children in our care. It's that classic analogy of the putting your own oxygen mask on first. If we look after ourselves, then we will be in a much better position to care fully for the children in our care and the colleagues around us as well. So thank you so much for that. You've given us some really good practical tips there. And I know some of the things that you have referred to as well lend themselves to some of the resources that we do have as part of membership with the Healthy Lifestyles offer as part of the Institute. And so I thought I'd just take this as an opportunity to just signpost anybody as well that isn't fully aware of some of the fantastic resources that we do have available with our partner Spectrum Life. So, on the Healthy Lifestyles tab of the membership page, we do have access to the Spectrum Life Wellbeing Hub, where you will find a number of meditations similar to what Joe has just led with us. The digital gym access, guidance for eating well, nourishing foods, particularly for the season. So there's a whole host of resources available there. We also do have access to the online GP as well, which is another fantastic resource. Hopefully many of you won't have to use it, but it is there for you as we enter the winter season. And also the discounts and rewards hub that we have as well as part of that offer. Heading into Christmas, I know we're all going to be spending lots of extra money here and there. So where we can make savings, they are always greatly appreciated. And just to flag as well, that on Spectrum Life, they do hold a whole host of webinars themselves, and that what coming up this month. So we've still got a number in November. There's actually there is one later on today for anybody watching live. There is one around men's mental health because it is Men's Mental Health Month, and there is also one on Wednesday, the 27th of November, which is around seasonal budgeting, which again I'm sure people might feel the benefits of as well. So do tap into those resources. And just your final next steps as well. Remember that as a member, you can log your CPD points. So you can log the points that you have assigned to watching this webinar today. Um, and also, if you'd like to join us for our next webinar, where we will be looking at making temporary staff feel welcome in your setting, do sign on and follow the link to sign up for that webinar. Again, lots of us will probably be hosting some temporary staff if some of our colleagues are ill over the winter season, so it might be a quite appropriate one for us to join in on. So all that's left for me to do is to say thank you so much once again, Jo, for hosting today. Really enjoyed it, and I hope everybody else has too. And keep using the platform and looking out for our other webinars coming up soon. Have a wonderful day. Thanks very much. Bye bye.